are already high, but what's coming in 2026 might make this year look cheap. My insurance broker just told me my new health plan could cost $1,200 a month. I actually laughed because how is that even real? When my husband qualified for Medicare, we canceled both our marketplace plans thinking I'd just re-enroll when he enrolls in Medicare. But since it wasn't open enrollment time, I've gone 6 months without no coverage. And now this projected price that's coming in a few months, ugh. But what shocked me most wasn't the healthcare cost. It's how everything else is about to jump right alongside it. So that one phone call got me thinking, if health insurance is jumping that high, what else is about to follow? Because it's never just one thing. When one part of the budget starts climbing, the rest always seems to tag along. Groceries, utilities, car insurance, property taxes, all of it just shifting at once. So I spent some time digging into what experts are already warning about for 2026. And honestly, some of it surprised me. Let's start with the one that hits almost everyone, including me, healthcare. For me, the biggest potential wild card next year is those healthcare costs. And honestly, I'm saying that from experience. Right now, I don't have the traditional health insurance. That means I'm not paying tens of thousands of dollars a year in premiums. But it also means I'm paying out of pocket when something does come up. It's a strange balance between freedom and risk. And it's one that more and more midlife women are finding themselves in. According to Newsweek, premiums for individual health plans could jump significantly in 2026 if certain government subsidies expire, and Investopia reports that Medicare premiums and deductibles are also expected to rise. For a lot of us, healthcare is the budget category that keeps us up at night because it's so unpredictable. I've learned a few tricks the hard way. I always ask for the cash price up front because it's often lower than the insurance rate. I've started using telehealth options for routine care, and I always ask for itemized bills so I can see what I'm actually paying for. Most people don't realize you can negotiate medical bills just like any other expense, and you can shop around for lab work and imaging, even prescriptions. It takes time, it takes patience, but it's worth it. The difference between sticker shock and manageable often comes down to asking one more question. That's why I've started looking for creative, affordable ways to fill in the gap. Which brings me to something I've personally been using since April and truly appreciate: MIDI Health, the sponsor of today's video. You know, for years, I felt like I was being brushed off by doctors when I tried to explain what was happening in my body. The fatigue, the weight changes, the lack of sleep. It always seemed to be dismissed as, well, you're just getting older. But finding MIDI honestly felt like such a relief. For the first time, I felt seen and understood. Now, MIDI is a virtual care clinic created for women by women. They specialize in midlife care, everything from perimenopause and menopause to skin, mood, weight, sleep, and even longevity. Their clinicians actually listen. They can order lab tests, review results, and create a personalized plan just for you. Now, when it's appropriate, they can also prescribe medications or other treatments, and they'll even coordinate with your existing doctor. For me, it's felt empowering with a side order of relief to finally have a team that gets it and helps me take back control of my health. There's a huge sense of relief knowing that my team is listening and understands that it's not all in my head. Aging well doesn't mean doing it alone. It means having the right care, the right data, and the right support. And that's exactly what MIDI offers. Whether you're going through perimenopause or menopause, or you just want to feel sharper and stronger for the future, they have visits that go way beyond the basics. Booking, super easy. Take a few minutes to set up your account, enter your insurance, tell MIDI about your symptoms, and choose a time to meet your clinician. Get all the virtual follow-ups you need to dial in your treatment and take preventative steps moving forward. There are also no memberships or hidden fees. MIDI bills insurance just like any other provider. Over 90% of women report relief from symptoms like hot flashes, anxiety, and brain fog within just a few months, which honestly makes sense when you finally have a team that listens. So whether or not you're feeling your best and want answers, or you're just ready to stay proactive about your health, MIDI's clinicians are ready to walk that road with you. If you'd like to take the next steps and join the more than 200,000 women who love and trust MIDI, then click the link in my description box or go to trymidi.com/frozenpennies to book your virtual visit with a clinician who truly understands women's health. Because aging well doesn't mean doing it alone. It means having the right team, the right care, and the right plan for you. Healthcare isn't the only category that's shifting in 2026. Let's talk about grocery prices because they're quietly creeping up again. Even though it feels like inflation has finally calmed down, the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Economic Research Service is still forecasting that food at home prices will rise next year. And market analysis at Circana expects food and beverage costs to climb another 3 to 5%. Not dramatic, but enough that we're going to feel it. Think smaller packages, fewer sales, and subtle price jumps that make a cart of basics cost $10 more than it used to. It's the kind of inflation that hides in plain sight. I started doubling down on what I call slow stockpiling, grabbing 1 or 2 extras of the pantry basics that I use every week when they're on sale. Canned tomatoes, peanut butter, rice, flour, those are the kinds of things that keep you out of the store when prices spike. I also rely more on my pre-made homemade freezer meals to stretch flavor and reduce waste. My goal isn't to panic buy, it's to prepare quietly. Because when you have a stocked pantry, you're not forced to pay top dollar out of desperation. Then there's the sneaky stuff that hits homeowners. Home and property insurances are quietly climbing too. A Scotsman Guide, which is a leading provider of financial tech tools for residential mortgage reports, showed homeowners' premiums rose about 14% in 2024 and could climb another 8% by 2026. While National Mortgage Professional reported that property tax payments increased more than 5% last year alone. And if your area is being reassessed, that could mean a higher escrow payment or a surprise bill in the mail. Even for those of us with a paid-off house, it's a reminder that owning your own home doesn't mean your housing costs stop. I'm budgeting extra for our homeowner's insurance renewal just in case, because that's one of those bills you don't want to be caught short on. I've also been thinking about all of the little home surprises, the leaky roof, a broken fridge, a cracked windshield. These are the kinds of things that don't feel big enough for an emergency fund, but they do add up. So I've created a home maintenance sinking fund, just a fancy way of saying a separate little savings account I put $50 a month into. It's not glamorous, but when something breaks, I don't panic. I already have a plan. Another area that's likely to throw people off this year is utility costs. Between unpredictable weather, rising delivery fees, and energy recovery, or any other sneaky fees and surcharges from power companies, bills have been all over the place. Living in upstate New York, I've seen what a cold winter can do to a heating budget. And it's not just the weather. Some companies are adjusting rates mid-year to recoup costs, which is their polite way of saying, surprise. So this year, I'm doubling down on energy efficiency, cozy blankets, layering clothing, and even some new window film to keep drafts out in different areas of my home. Little changes like that are my insurance policy against the next energy hike. Speaking of insurance, let's talk about car insurance and vehicle costs because drivers are already paying record high premiums. Nonstop local KHQ reports that rates are expected to climb another 4% in 2026, and Experian says the average American is now paying around $2,300 a year for coverage. Repairs are more expensive too, thanks to parts shortages and higher labor costs. Even used car prices haven't dropped as much as we'd hoped. For a lot of families, transportation is quietly becoming one of the biggest monthly expenses, right up there with housing and food. I started setting aside a small car cushion every month, not just for maintenance, but for the inevitable premium increases. We're also planning on upgrading our car soon, so this car fund will help that. Now let's talk about debt and credit card interest, because even though the economy is stabilizing, interest rates on consumer debt aren't coming down anytime soon. Most credit cards are still hovering around that 29% APR or higher. That means every dollar of revolving debt is working against your future budget. I've coached so many women who feel like they're drowning in minimum payments that never move the needle. So for 2026, one of the smartest moves any of us can make is to tackle high interest debt first, even just chipping away at it little by little. Because the less money going toward interest, the more flexibility you have when the next financial surprise hits. Something else that might not be the top of mind, but still matters, is retirement and tax adjustments. Contribution limits, Social Security cost of living increases, and income tax brackets shifts all play a role in how much of our money stays ours. Now, I'm not a financial advisor, but I am paying attention. especially since my husband is retired and our income mix looks a little bit different. Sometimes even small changes in deductions or benefits can make a monthly budget feel tighter without anything else changing. So part of my plan for the new year is to check in on those details early before they sneak up on us. And while we're on the topic of things that aren't technically necessities, I have to mention travel and everyday experiences. The cost of having fun has gone up more than people realize. Airfare, hotels, car rentals, and even theme park tickets all come with new service or resort fees. Even simple family getaways have gotten pricier. It doesn't mean we stop traveling. It just means we have to be more intentional about it. For us, that might mean more camping trips or local experiences that still feel special but don't cost thousands of dollars. Sometimes the best memories are made an hour from home. Another subtle but very real shift happening is shrinking paychecks without a pay cut. You might not see your employer change your salary, but you might notice your take-home pay quietly dropping between higher insurance premiums, adjusted tax withholdings, and new benefit deductions. A lot of families are going to feel like they're earning less next year, even when they aren't. It's the kind of change that can mess with your budget if you don't notice it early. I like to look at our first paycheck of the year line by line, not to stress over it, but to make sure I understand what's changing. Knowledge is really powerful when it comes to your budget. So what do we do with all of this? Honestly, I think the best strategy for 2026 is flexibility. The world doesn't slow down for our budgets, so we build budgets that bend instead of break. That means keeping a small emergency buffer, checking in monthly, and being willing to adjust when life does. Some years we can predict the surprises, other years we just roll with them. But every time we adapt, we get a little stronger and a little smarter about how to protect our peace. Here's the mindset piece most people miss. Budgeting isn't just about numbers. It's about stability. It's about the sense of calm that comes from knowing you have a plan, even when things change. We can't control global prices or federal policies, but we can control how prepared we feel. When I focus on what I can influence, my spending, my savings, my attitude, the noise quiets down. And here's the silver lining. Every financial surprise comes with hidden opportunities. Rising food prices can push us to cook more at home and waste less. Higher utilities might motivate us to finally seal up drafts or switch to LED bulbs. Even rising car insurance can be the nudge we need to declutter, sell the extra vehicle, or walk more when the weather's nice. Frugality isn't about fear, it's about creativity. I'll leave you with this. Every one of these surprises is also an opportunity. When we plan ahead for what might happen, we stop being blindsided. We start being proactive. Whether it's rising costs, the shrinking paychecks, or just the unpredictability of life. You can still create a plan that feels stable, even when everything else doesn't. And if this year has taught me anything, it's that control doesn't come from knowing the future. It comes from knowing yourself and your priorities. Because no matter what happens in 2026, you and I both know we'll find a way to make it work. We always do. Thanks again to Medi Health for sponsoring today's video. And if this video spoke to you, please like, share, subscribe, and watch this video next.